This is a presentation on using the Google Keyword tool for doing professional research. It works best for me, and I'm using a real custom example here. So I'll walk you through the process first. Basically, to make sure we see the same interface language, I show you how to change the interface language. Then we enter the root keywords and select the search options. We execute our initial search, and based on the initial search we browse through quickly and see if we can add any negative keywords and re-execute until we have less than 800 rows, which is the maximum that Google returns. We'll then download our initial keyword list and review, and based on the review add more negative keywords and refine the positive keywords. This is really an iterative process. And then finally we will assign the match type and the ad group to the selected keywords. So let's go into more detail. Setting the interface language, we go to Preferences, which you can see here. And then in Preferences we would click here to change the language. I've changed it to English and to Spain. For some reason it doesn't keep the Spanish, it maintains English but doesn't matter for example. Then we'd go to the Keywords tool in Reporting Tools, Keywords tool, and start entering the information required. So these are the root keywords we will be entering. Then we would select the category, and after selecting the category, what I tend to do is to initially check this mark to only show the ideas that are really closely related to my search terms, which is how I can get some more ideas. Finally, we will set the advanced option filters. I'm using here the United States and all languages, because the United States returns what I need for doing the research, and all the languages, because these are the languages of the user interface that the user is using when he's searching in Google. And we choose also the device types. So just to show you an example of the results of the closely related research. Here you see that there are some twists basically to the words I'm already using, which are pretty important because routers with 3G backup is exactly what we are looking for. And this is the initial keyword where I've got this unchecked. There's a lot more the Brainstorm, and you can see I have here 753 results already, so I'm below the limit, but I may still want to and add some additional negative keywords. So the way to download the list is you go to Download, you can select all or just the ones you selected. Then you select the format. I use CSV for Excel. And then you download the keyword list. It may take half a minute sometimes to download the list, so we'll be patient. And then once downloaded, you simply close the pop-up. So when we review the initial keyword list, what we're looking for new keyword ideas to refine the base keywords that we already have, and especially find more negative keywords. So this would, when we set it up, it would look like this. In this case, I have fall over router and fallback router, and the negative keywords with a minus sign in front, VoIP and free and portable. So I will then execute again, but I recommend not adding too many positive keywords at the same time, as this may also restrict the results too much. You have to try this. And this is really an example where we do this only once, but in reality this part is an iterative process. So when we review the final keyword list, what we do, we evaluate based on the business value, so and how far this keyword is relevant to our business, and then match it against the search volume and cost per click. For terms with a high search volume and high cost per click, we should consider using long tail search terms. And on the sheet we will add the columns for relevance, where 1 is the best and NA would be non-applicable. And very important is the match type. And by default we will use the broad match, so there's no need to enter this type, but if you change it, make sure that you add this into the columns. A good example here is backup router and router backup. It's not really the same. We have to use phrase match here, because a backup router is a router that serves as a backup, in this case a 3G backup, in case our normal connection falls over, while as router backup is backing up the router data, which is a completely different concept. We assign the ad groups for each keyword, so we know how many ad groups we will be having, and add a comment section, especially for keywords which we decided not to use, but could look like being relevant, so we track why we didn't choose them. And then, important for later reference, keep your search criteria, which you've entered into the Google Adwords Keywords tool, in an additional sheet of the same Excel workbook. So we will now go into the demo, which will be using the 3G backup router as example. In the example, we are using the official internal AdWords tool, but you can also do the same with the external keywords tool. But be aware that Google returns only a maximum of 100 keywords, so you're pretty limited here. And setting up an AdWords account is quick and costs only $5. So this is the email address in case you need it. Without further ado, let's go to the presentation. Okay, first of all, we are going to change our interface language. So if I was in Spanish, so as I am now, I could go to Preferences, and there I edit, change this to English, and save. So now we see the whole interface language has changed. Now we're going to start to use the keyword tool. Okay, before I start, let's briefly describe what I'm looking for. So my customer in this case is selling a special router that basically backs up when the normal communication line would drop. They would have a 3G backup router. Basically, they go through the mobile network. So let's put in our first keywords, our root keywords. Then we would select our category to further refine the results. And in this case, we just select all. What I tend to do is at the beginning just to have a quick look and see if there are some very related search ideas. So I check this box. Now I click on the advanced options filter, select United States, because I want to have a difference between local and global searches, and the United States is a country that has plenty of searches, so this is okay. And all languages, which is basically the interface language the user uses when he's searching in Google. The rest we can leave as it is. And the broad match type, as we are in a browse mode, or let's say brainstorming mode right now, we leave this match type. Let's close this down so we see more and run it. Okay, there's one idea, 3G backup router, so I'll just copy this so I know to have it for later. For now, I want to have as much results as possible and just press search. And you can see now I have 769 words. So what I basically do is I browse through quickly and see if there's something that I don't want to have. So quickly, just some negative keywords. If you want to see more rows at the same time, you can see up to 100. There's a word I don't want, which is modem. So this will be our first negative keyword. And search again. As we can see here now, the search number has fallen down to 611. You can also sort this keyword list by keyword, competition, whatever column you would like to. But what I like to do is really just download the list and browse through it so I can keep better track of what I'm doing. So let's do this. We say here download all. Download. This may take a while. Here we go. And we save our list. I'll just save it here. So that's how we save, and then we click dismiss, and we start looking at our local keyword list. I've really skipped here a little, so this is not my initial list. It's my third iteration basically, just to show you some ideas here. I've seen that I don't want antennas. I'm not sure if I want extender. I will have to contact the customer to see if this is what he's looking. I don't want repeaters. I don't want amplifiers. I also don't want cloud. I don't want dual, because this is not a dual router in this case. So a dual would be a negative keyword. And I also have some interesting positive, which is failover. Then there are others which I don't want, which is load balance routers, because this is not a load balancing issue. This is basically we're switching from one to the other, which is why failover switch could be a pretty good keyword. It's important to keep track of all of this. So what I basically do in parallel, I create a text document where I find my additional keyword ideas. Then I have campaign specific negative keywords. And I've also found some general negative keywords, which are quite like clustering and software and program. It's almost more important to find lots of negative keywords than positive keywords, because we will be starting off with a broad match. And the more negative keywords we have, the less our ads will show up in unrelated searches. And as a consequence, our click-through rate will improve, which will also make Google like our ads and show them more frequently and lower our prices. So keep this in mind, just to keep this information. So for now, I will just stop a moment. Okay, we are now back into the keywords tool, and as you can see, I have a long list of negative keywords and another few keywords idea, and now we will start search again. So now our list has reduced to 175, which is quite a manageable list. We can probably select directly from here, but again, as I said, we download the list and we work the final list over again. There may be another iteration, but with 175 keywords, unless I don't find new keywords ideas, I would just use this final list and work on this. Okay, that was it for the part of the presentation.